Hello. Everything is working. Let's see. Hey, Tech Talks with AA. Hello. I'm doing well. What about you? Talks with AA. Have we talked before? I don't recognize the name. Glad to hear you're doing well. Uh, your name's Awais? Awais? I hope I didn't butcher your name. Um, yeah, thanks for being here. We usually wait like 10 to 15 minutes for like a couple people to show up, and then we just start. We're just gonna be looking at the new component variants and see what we can do with them, how they work. Yeah. Have you tried them yet? The component variants? Actually, don't need those headphones. Mm. Oh, hello. You just found my channel, great content, and I wish I was building new style variant for button component. As I saw you pop up, so I said, why not? Okay, good timing, I guess. Welcome to the channel. I hope uh, you enjoy the content. Yeah, I think buttons are a very good starting point. Hello. Yeah, I hope I can show something that maybe you didn't know about them or Webflow didn't talk about. Let's see. Maybe I can already start showing some things. I see we have 3 viewers. It's good enough for now. Mm-mm. Let me make sure the size is correct. Okay. This is just a starter from Saddle, by the way. So I didn't set up anything fancy yet. We just have a section, a container, and a grid. And Webflow is rendering the grid in a very weird way. You are working on a client site and you are using Finsmith style guide, but you see that button has a lot of combo classes. So I said maybe now it can be easy to make changes. Yeah, I mean, it's still combo classes. It's just a bit easier to manage maybe because you don't need to have multiple instances of them or multiple components. The way I did it before, and like if I put a button here, this is from Saddle, and you can see that even here we try to do something similar to variants where you could put the variant directly in the component prop. So if I say outline, now it's an outline. Um, it's also a bit more flexible than the variants because you can pass in multiple classes. So I can do small, and now it's both outline and small. Or I can delete the outline and now it's just small. So I think there's still room to use combo classes, regular ones. Plus you can, if you have like global classes, you can still put global classes here. So I think one of the best updates we had was this class as a component property. For clients, it's easy. Instead, they mess up the order of the combo classes. Yes, that is correct. That is the most important one because as I just did, I have to write out these. And like if a client writes um, outline wrong or outline and then comma, it breaks. And having the variants definitely prevents that. And it's much nicer with the page builder experience. So what we're gonna do, gonna remove this component. Let's make this like this. Maybe I'll make a card here. Mm, I'm gonna keep that. Okay. Do this. Do an H2. I'll also put an H1 here. Okay, this should be an H1, but I need it to be smaller. I'll do H4, yeah, and this should be like text H5. Yep. So we're gonna have a few cards like this one. We'll do as a wrapper. I'll put a para. No. Interesting. So I'm used to writing P or PA and clicking paragraph, but now page slot shows up first. No. Okay, so now we have like a card, typical card with just a little bit of content. Maybe we even add an image. Do this. I'll do card image. Let's do 100% width. Overflow hidden. Give it some radius. And let's give it some height, like 16 rep. And then this is an image, so it's full screen. I think we can grab one of the images here. That works. Okay, and I'll give this some margin. Yeah. Okay. So good starting point for a component. Let's do card. It's already taken. New card. Very creative. And let's do the properties really quick. Oh, this is really nice. I forgot they did this. We can set tags as properties. Okay, let's do title. We'll do paragraph. And let's do CTA text. But text. Let's do link, yeah. And also image. Okay. So now we can edit everything. All right, so the way I would do variants in the past was one version was adding classes, just like I did with the button before. But also I used a lot of the visibility. So like if I wanted a card with no image, I would do like image visibility. And now if you want a card without an image, we can just hide it. I put it on the wrong element. It should be here. Yeah, so now we can hide the image and it's a regular card with no image. But the problem with that is that if your other styles had more things to change, then you have to do them one by one, and we would end up with a big list. Then you can make folders, and you'd have folders that are not very used. So it wasn't super clean, but still works. It gives you more flexibility to work with. So I want to do like 2 or 3 of these just so that we can see the differences. This will be variant 2. And I want to give this a variant. Here. What should this one be? Hmm. I'll do compact. Okay, so this will be like no padding. We don't want this either. And no background. So now we can select this. And it's just just cards with no borders or anything dividing them. Though it looks weird when it's next to the other one, but that's fine. Yeah, I think we start with this. Let's see how what this looks like when it's published so that we can see what is Webflow doing to create these variants. That was the first thing I wanted to check when I was at the conference. And if we inspect here and go to this variant, so we can see we have data WF new card, which is the component name, variant compact. So it does similar things with the component names as it does with classes, where it's lowercase and dashes. But this attribute is not what it uses to style the element. If we pull this up, we will see that the actual selector is a bit more complicated. That says card, which is the base element where this class exists. To be honest, not sure why they had to use where, maybe for better specificity, because if it was just a combo class, you could override it a bit easier with just a combo class. This would be more specific than just a regular combo class. Maybe that's why. But we can see that this is where all the variant styles are. So we have this huge class with an auto-generated name, which is not great, to be honest, but that's fine for what it gives you here, where you can just select, you can switch between variants that easily. What I also wanted to do was, I guess we don't have to create a new button component. We can just use the old one and go in. We'll do variant. And instead of using the combo class, I'll just do here outline. So now this can be moved. Let's do transparent. I'll give it an outline and we'll change the text. Okay. And then we can link this variant. Yeah. Button variant. Perfect. So now through the parent component, we can change the variant of the child. It doesn't have a border for some reason. Oh, it's the same. Let's do this one. Or a blue. Yeah. Yeah. So now we can change the variant of the button. Let me check chat. They gave the variant very big name. I think instead of a variant, they would allow to add different classes or combo classes. That would have been great also. So base button can be button but white. Variant can have just combo class, just like button is white. Yeah, I would have preferred that as well. Like, it would have been nice if they used maybe this name that we had as the variant as a class, like even if it's just W compact or something like that, or even new card compact. I don't know. This seems like a little bit too much. It reminds me of what they're doing for grid children. So like, let me put another grid here. So if you put any div inside of a grid and start doing this, they're still generating a class for it because it's not like an inline style. They have to somehow save those styles that are applying to this. So once this publishes, okay, can refresh. We don't see anything because the other grid is empty. But yeah, there is this W node dash underscore and then a huge number and then this. So it seems like a very similar thing with this one, but this time with variants. Yeah, it could be better, but I'm glad that there's at least some way we can target the variants, because there's a lot of times where I need to like run animations or like some kind of logic that is very specific to a variant of, or like a combo class. So at least we can still target variants in this way. And the problem is that now that they've already implemented it, I don't think it's gonna change. Because once you have like a new feature like this, changing it means that you could potentially break older sites. So they kind of have to keep it this way now and just build on top of it. Maybe they can change the classes. Like if they can make the classes a bit nicer, that would be great. Uh, but yeah, it's all right. What I do like is that you can control these things very easily as someone who is not a developer. So like if we do page slot, if I'm not mistaken, now we should be able to go into build mode and we have the page slot. We can click and we see all the components. Do new card. We have the card in here and we can change these. Okay, I just noticed something that I didn't realize before. I don't see the class property in build mode. Oh, it's not here either. Did I remove it? Oh, that was in the button. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna try that again because I'm very curious. I should be able to edit the class. Let's see. Okay, it's still there, never mind. But yeah, I think this is a much nicer experience for a client than it is writing class names. Now, I don't know. The only problem I see with it is if you have so many things that you need to create variants for, and this code just keeps piling up. While in the past, I would use like a lot of combo classes that were maybe reused, or I don't know. Maybe it's a non-problem that I'm making it more dramatic than it should be, but I feel like this, just like with the grid items, can create like a huge line then, or a huge block of CSS that is just for these CSS inline elements or inline styles that are created because you can. It's just so easy to create them. You just put an element inside of a grid and start pulling it around, and you're creating extra CSS. I think for the most part, if you use it just sparingly for the few components, could be good. What I do like though that you cannot do with combo classes, or it's much harder with combo classes, is that you can edit multiple things. So on the compact so far, I just did edits on the card itself, but we could go in here and change what this global class is only on this component variant, which is really nice because there's a lot of cases where you just need some kind of maybe text or color or whatever it could be different just on specific cases when a specific variant is visible. And this allows us to not mess with the base class that was text h5 that is used in like everyone on the page on the site. And now you can just, like, for example, here, make it smaller. Let's say we want the size to be like this. And we want this paragraph. Oh, we can't. Okay, do text. Medium. This should also be smaller. Can do this. So now these are all grouped with that variant. So that makes it much nicer than having one combo class for each, and then you have to add the combo class each time. Although once again, if you really want that kind of flexibility, and you can just add the class property, and then you don't just change from one to the other, you can write any of them. So like we have text h1 to 5 to 6, and text like extra large, large, medium, small. I can set any of these on any of those elements, but we don't get this security that I know what I'm doing and I cannot break it. But with a free form field where I can just write anything, you can easily misspell a class, or maybe even the class changes, would change the class name, and then suddenly your class doesn't exist yet, and it just breaks it. So even though I'm not a huge fan of how the generated classes are, this is the safest option to create variants. I want to create another variant where we change a lot more. Let's go here and let's do horizontal. Okay, that's something else I wanted to see. I hadn't tested it yet, but it seems like whenever you create a new variant, it always creates it from the base. Although we can duplicate. Okay. So let me try deleting this because I did want to start from this one. Okay. And we can do horizontal. I'm going to make this a flex like this. I'm not going to make this a flex like that. Let's see. In its current state, it's a bit hard to make this horizontal. But maybe you can just make a grid like this. And then we can mix the controls that they give us with grids. One more cell. Looks a bit ridiculous. Wait, why is the button so big? Okay. Okay. So now let's try horizontal. Nice. It's still the same. So we can do 2 horizontal ones. Nice. Mm. Okay. I want to see how they're gonna nest the grid styles with the variant styles. So this one. Okay, so once again we have variant horizontal, another class. And this is the grid that we created. So grid gaps, we have background color, template rows, yeah. Okay. And then what we care about more is this. Okay, so it still adds the ID. So now instead of targeting by class, it's targeting by the ID that is also generated on the grid. Interesting. I guess this is more specific. Okay, but what if we have, okay, what if we have two elements that have the same class inside, and then we want each of them to be different? Because the base selector goes by the class, and let's see what they did here. Yeah, here again, it's by class. So if I had two of these titles, two elements that have text h5, would it affect both? That's what I'm trying to see. So let's say we have another paragraph. I'm gonna make it, disconnect this. Let's do paragraph 2. Gonna make it hidden by default to second paragraph. And then, okay. Okay, maybe let's not make it hidden by default. That's annoying. So these both have the class textMD. And if I reset this, it resets both. Okay. So it is by class. And I can't make any specific changes to this one. I'm guessing I would have to have like another combo class. Yeah. But then whenever you edit something that has a grid, it actually targets the ID. Okay, good to know. Okay, but here it did target the ID for the grid cell span. I'm wondering if I also make changes to the class, would it add it to this, or is it gonna add another selector? So I'm gonna do that right now. So in this variant, we're already changing the position here. I'm gonna also remove the margin, and I'm gonna make it taller. And now I want to see how Webflow is handling that. Okay. So it's the image. Okay, so we have something new here. Now we have two of the very long classes. Even though it seems like it's the same class, just added twice. I think the best would have been from dev POV that the parent, you can add a new classes for combo classes to specific variants. So buttons can be button class, but wide variant can allow us to add different classes or combo classes. So it can be like if a link has a wide variant attribute, then change the class so button has a class and can be a wide button, or just add a new combo class on top like button is wide. That way you can stack combo classes from your style guide and get more combo control. Yeah, I would have loved, since they know that the class property is special because it's controlling the classes, I would have loved to have the same autocomplete that we have here, like this. I would have loved it if the class field here, if it showed us the current classes, like these, and then we could click and we could see all the other classes. Like as I'm writing, I could see what classes exist. That would have made it easier. Maybe don't allow me to remove the current class or something. I don't know, but um, yeah. But this is a weird thing that I just noticed here. So we have W variant, and then these two classes are the same. No, actually they're not. They end with C56A, C56A. Then there's an extra 6 here. Oh, never mind. There it is. So it is the same class twice. Yeah, so it's targeting this node with an ID because we changed the grid settings. And then it's targeting this class. And then it's using this class again, but because I guess they are two different functions, it added the class twice. So now you have a very long class name. Uh, I wonder how that works in like. Okay, yeah. So it's definitely the same class. Because when I call class list on it, I only get these two. So this is duplicated. You want to see how it handles the Webflow interaction stuff and also custom JS handle. If you have to target that weird ID class to target different variant, I think of them in GSAP. Yeah, so that's why there is the data attribute. We can use this data attribute to target it with custom code. So if I wanted to animate all the horizontal ones with GSAP, I would use this. Obviously, you're not gonna use this because I don't know if it changes, but it's very random and I don't trust that it's gonna stay the same. This makes much more sense. So we get if you would use it for CSS or JS to animate, definitely use the attribute. And then if you want any children of it, I guess you target children of this element with this attribute. And by the main class, not by the auto-generated ones. I'm seeing now that it's adding also the same class. So the variant that it creates, the variant class, it's the same. So I guess this makes it a bit less nice because in that case we can create a class like let's say we have a class called is dark, right? And I can start going here and make this dark like this. And then I can also add it to these, make this dark and change the text to this, to is dark, do the same. Okay, and then I remove the class. So now because I have the class, I can just do variant, my own variant. No, sorry, this will be class. And then we'll do variant here. I can't. Let's do class. And then I can add the same to this. can do class variant, and the same here, class connected to the same variant. And then essentially what it's doing is just adding this here. That's all it's doing. So unless I know that the client will be very involved, I think I might stick with this just because it's a bit more free and I can add more. Like I can do I don't know what kind of utility we have, like height screen, which makes no sense here, but I can just keep adding utilities without messing with anything else. And I'm just adding this class, not like a very readable class, instead of using this variant. But if my client is very involved, I would still use this, I think, just because they can't make any wrong move with this. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice your message. You wonder what Webflow uses in native interactions. If I remember correctly, they actually add an ID. It was called like interaction ix2 target, I think. So we can try this really quick. Let me add like a mouse interaction or something. Maybe let's do this. Okay, let's do whenever the whole card is clicked. Why not? So I'm pretty sure it depends on what you select here. If we keep it on element, which would be weird because as a component, I'm pretty sure it adds an ID. But let's say when we click it, we want the scale to become 1.1. Sure. So now if I publish this, I can go over here. Come on. Yeah, there's an ID that Webflow added, data WID. Webflow added this in order to target it. That is weird. I feel like that should not have been there. Variants, object. Is this the property I added? No. What is this? It's doing the same thing, but that's much nicer. But it has a chance that someone can miss this. Yeah. If they just have done the same stuff in variant, so you can add variant and class is dark. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice if we could select the class that it's adding. Which is only for that variant, and all the sibling, if we change anything, get the same class. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would have preferred if it was that way. And I'm pretty sure, wait, let me check these. Okay, never mind. I wanted to see if maybe the variant names are changing, but they're not. But yeah, interactions use this data WID. So all of these now have data WID, and it's the same ID. And if I click on any card, it just grows. But then I actually don't remember what happens if we remove that. And now we target it using a class. So let me click on this class. We'll select the same animation. Okay, it's still adding the ID, even though we're targeting by class now. Okay. But you can see how this starts getting a bit crowded here. Like, what is going on with this one? Let's see. So now we have a data WID, which is this long string. And then we also have this variant, which used to be duplicate. It seems like it got fixed. Oh, no, never mind. The duplicate was here. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of long duplicated, not duplicate, but a lot of long strings of random text just for targeting specific items. And I feel like it's because they are usually specific to a project and not every project. You probably don't need that long of an ID. But I don't know. I haven't worked on a project of this scale before, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, this seems a bit excessive. Like you can see this part where it's nice and clean. Then we have a bunch of IDs, which I guess no one really cares about as long as they do their job pretty well, because they do make the editing experience much nicer, to be fair. Let's clean up everything. Oh, this. Wait, what did I have here? Oh, it's looking like WordPress code? No. Wait, you said something before. But what about color and stuff? Like I have white card, which can change color in interaction, but now I have a different variant where I want to change to different color on hover. Hmm. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. So you're asking if we can add an animation to a specific variant. Okay, I didn't think about that actually. So this is different than this one. And horizontal card. That is a very good question. It doesn't look like we can target variants through here. So if you want to animate something that is specific to a variant, you have to do it through the attribute. There's no option to target a specific variant. Should probably write some of these down to write a post afterwards. We are finding out some stuff, yeah. But if you just want to change a background, I would say use CSS. There is no reason to use animations for something as simple as a hover. Like if you want to target this, you can copy this. Sorry. My cat is sleeping on half of my keyboard, so I'm trying very hard not to click something wrong. I like to click here so I have a clean editor here. And then you basically target them like this. Like there is light and dark variant where light variant change color to dark on hover, but how can I adjust to make the dark variant work apart from CSS and transform? Yeah, I mean, if you had a... Okay, I need to press some keys that are under my cat, so I need to unfortunately wake her up. Say hi. Right. can sleep on my chair. Let's say you had a dark variant, then this would be dark. And in my case, it's horizontal. So if I want, for example, I want to, I don't know, grow this, only this variant whenever we hover it, you can do hover. Actually, you need to add the class first. No, it's fine. Without the class is also fine because I just realized they only add this to the base variant, to the base element, not everything that changed. So on hover, we'll do scale 1.2. There it is. It's a bit big. So now these don't have this hover, but these one have. And it's just one line of CSS. Much simpler. But also, we have variables now. So like, for example, if you see what we're doing with saddle, if you go to global code, the CSS, and scroll up, this is something that apparently they said they are working on making at some point. It should be in the variables panel, but for now it's not yet. So we basically have an attribute and the class, and if you add one of them, then we change the variables to a different one. So instead of, for example, calling this blue, if we go in here, oh, it is blue. Okay, but normally you would use this accent, and then you can just change the accent because that's what used everywhere. And if I go here, hopefully this should work. Yeah, you see that the text and the background changed, and everything is changing with it because we are changing the variables that we're using. So over here in the variables, in the colors, so we have colors here. We have a color for the surface, for the text, for the stroke, for the secondary surface, accent, card stroke, which is usually not really that useful, to be honest, and the muted text color. And then basically, you can just change, like, for example, you could have here color and call it hover color or hover surface. Right, so for light mode, whenever we hover something, for example, maybe we want it to turn into this color. And then I can copy this. And I can say that the hover color will be palette neutral 3. Let's do 3. So now, for example, let's say whenever we hover this, hover, interesting that it doesn't have, yeah, I guess it doesn't need a selector. But let's say whenever we hover this, we want to change the background. We can change it to the hover variable. So now whenever we hover, it changes to this. But if I go to the dark background, it changes to a different color, which is darker, which is not great. I just put a number one, random one there. Let's do 5. That still doesn't work well. Oh, wait, what? Okay, I think I did something wrong, maybe. hover, we change to hover. Hmm. Yeah, this should have inherited the color. But I guess what you could do then, to be more specific, if we used whatever variant we had, let's do, instead of this, let's do a dark variant. So dark, and this one has this color for background and this color for foreground. Hmm. But then you can just change it from here. You can just do yeah, you wouldn't need custom code. You do variant dark. Yeah. But if you did want to do something else that CSS can't do, we can just like target the dark ones. We can do this. Oh, it's not even hover. So yeah, you would put hover here. So whenever you hover only a dark one, it would grow. Let's do a regular one here. Base. See? This is how I would do it. Yeah. This seems a little excessive, but overall, I think it's a good feature. I think it's gonna be very useful because the page builder in general, with everything that came with it, is gonna be super useful because you can basically create your own CMS in a way. You know what I mean? Because you have your own page templates, which could be like a CMS collection, and then you create a new page, and then you keep adding these components, and each component has different variants, has these properties. I think it makes it a very nice editing experience. Said yes, but it should have worked with the Webflow IX2 interaction. Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't a way to target them, but maybe they just didn't consider it yet. Hmm. Yeah, maybe it's something that if a few people point out, they could change. Because I imagine there are still a few people, or not a few people, but a lot of people who still use interactions. I use GSAP for almost everything, but I can imagine if you're like a beginner and you're not coding, you're a designer, and you want to use interactions on a specific variant, it could be pretty annoying. And in that case, you can go back to using a class as a variant because you can, with interactions, you can target a combo class and animate stuff that way, which again makes the class property much more powerful and flexible, but you have this disadvantage of not having the security that you will always have the correct one, or for example, you have to either remember them or write them here, which is what I do. So if I have a few different ones, I think I had it here actually on the button. Yeah. So I put like a parenthesis and then I put all the different options in the name itself. It would have been nice if we had like a description for them, but this also works. Or what would be great is maybe a drop down. A drop down would be great, where like you can add the options and then you can create your own variants basically, because you would have this same thing here, but with your own styles, your own classes. That would be amazing. But that is 1 hour. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you for being here. You see your last message. Yeah, and with Webflow going to change interactions to GSAP, they need them. Then to target them. Yeah, but that's still very far. We don't know what this is gonna look like whenever GSAP interactions come out. As far as I know, they wouldn't have even started. They haven't even started, and I would be very surprised if they manage to finish it next year, because it's a pretty big project to finish, I think. There's a lot of nuances in it. There's a lot of details. So I think that's a project that's gonna take them a while. Well, thank you. I'm trying to remember your name. Awise? Am I saying that right? Have a good day or night, whatever it is, where you are. It's night here. But yeah, have a great day. It was great talking to you. Thank you for being here. You saw they might have started already. Yeah, I think they're in planning though. 11 p.m. for you. Oh wow. Okay. Well, good night then. And yeah, I'll be here next week as well if you wanna show up. What time is it here? It's 8 p.m. I'm gonna be here every Friday. I'm trying to keep consistent with this because I wanted to do videos more consistently, but it's a bit hard. And I thought the streaming was easier because I don't have to do a lot of editing and planning. I just go live and do focus on one thing. But yeah, good night.